Good morning. I've got hundreds of clothes on this morning because it was so cold out there and I'm letting my body heat itself back up. So I've got fleece, and more fleece. So, morning Craig. Let's just give it a couple of minutes. I can actually probably take off one of these layers now before we get started. On the inner voice, the mind. Let me get this straight as well. Cool. Put on some lippy this morning to cheer myself up. So fed up looking at grey hair, grey face, no colour. Yeah, so this morning we're going to look at loving yourselves, mastering the mind, which is something that they've been saying in the East. Good morning, Lisa. Yeah, I wasn't cosy a wee while ago, I tell you. Mastering the mind and the inner critic, because the more of this, the more of you understand that a lot of our torture comes from ourselves and listening to the mind, believing the thoughts. Morning, Nikki. And believing that what the inner critic is saying is true. Morning, Sean. How are you, darling? So, I want to explain before we get into it, the whole thing that, love yourself, look in the mirror and say, I love you. That is not what I'm talking about. Because that kind of chat has never really worked for me. If it's worked for you, fantastic. But it kind of switched me off. It's like, love yourself. What does that mean? But if you take it to the cellular perspective, okay, so this is the cell, and I'm thinking to myself, you're such an idiot. Why did you say that? Why did you do that? And you're creating this cellular contraction based on the inner dialogue. Morning, Mary. And so that's you kind of hating on your cells. You're telling your cells something's wrong. Because remember, the cells don't know. Their language is not words. Their language is feelings. So they're just like, as you're criticizing yourself or maybe others, then you're ejecting chemistry into your bloodstream, which gives you a feeling. And this all happens like instantly, really quickly. So when you're hating on yourself or hating on others and criticizing yourself and believing your thoughts, we literally, ourselves are getting this negative chemistry and negative information, which on occasion may be necessary. I think what we need to really understand is that negative feelings are normal. Anxiety is normal. All of these negative feelings are completely normal. Morning, Izzy. And I think to say that, my anxiety as if it's a disease, can really be counterproductive. It's like, I have anxiety in the body. I am not my feeling. I am not my belief. I am not my thoughts. None of that. But all of that is happening through me. Morning. So we are human and we have this range of emotions that go from unconditional love to unconditional hate and apathy. And we have all that spectrum in between. And what we're looking at now is actually expanding our emotional capacity in order for us to experience greater levels of joy. Now, what worries people is that if they let go of the past, if you open your heart again to this potential of much greater levels of joy, etc., that you're opening up to the possibility of getting hurt again. And, that's a very relevant concern, let's say. But what actually happens is the higher your vibration, which is literally the frequency that you are vibrating at in this moment in time, and we're going to work on raising our vibration right now. That's quantum physics. There is different frequencies. The frequency of the electromagnetic field, the ionosphere on the planet, is the Schumann resonance. And we can be on that frequency above, below. And when we literally change our frequency, i.e. our mood, our perception, we can create different things, and we can let go of different things. So it's all about energy, all of it. So within that, it's only human to go up and down the emotional scale, depending on what's happening in your world. And there's nothing wrong with that. The problem becomes when we get stuck in these lower frequencies and we can't see our way out, or that we didn't understand we can breathe our way out, we can release our way out, we can imagine our way out, we can get into nature. There's lots and lots of things that we can do, Scotland's Wild Medicine, to help us change our frequency. And when the frequency changes, the feelings and the thoughts instantly change with it. And there's different ways that you can access this. But I think for me, it's understanding, you are the master, mistress, goddess of your body. And this is just something that we're still really struggling to come to terms with, that we have the power, and with that power, of course, comes a responsibility, which you may not want. And I can totally understand that as well. Sometimes we are in such a low, dark place that we need to be put into other people's care to get us, to help, to lift us up enough to get us into a state, an emotional state that we can see that we're powerful and not powerless. Because when you have these glasses of apathy, grief and fear on, then you are more helpless. And that's when we need to help each other. If you're grieving, for example, and a lot of people are grieving right now for lots of different reasons, then sometimes you just need your friends to hug you or support you or listen to you, etc. So we have to understand that these heavier feelings, often if you're in this heavy apathetic state, you're not going to think like somebody. You can't think like somebody who's up being solution going, why don't you just do this? Why don't you just breathe? Why don't you do that? Why don't you do the next thing? Because it's so obvious when you're here, but it's not obvious at all when you're here. So we have to just gently support people with these powerful, powerful techniques to come up the emotional scale enough that they can start to see a little bit of daylight and think, okay. And if you say to somebody, well, you're doing the thinking, you're believing all your thoughts, you're believing all your feelings, you're the one that's doing it to yourself, they can feel even more wounded and hurt than they already are. Even if that's the truth, and the truth's a big thing right now, because as I said earlier in my post, somebody messaged and said that they assumed I hated people. So I was laughing because I was like, what did I say that made you think that? And I'd said some people can't handle the truth. And that's been true of me in the past. And just take it even to nutrition. When you say to people, you need to change your diet, they don't like it. They won't say, my diet's fine. I've got a good diet. Nobody wants to hear that they have to change or that things have to change in their life. Nobody. But the bottom line is, I think the best question ever asked of Jordan Peterson was, do you ever lie in order to be kind? Now think about that as a question. What a brilliant question. And he thought about it and he said, I have been tempted, right? Because of course, it's easy to just lie and be kind. But is that really the place we're at right now? Or as he said, you're just pushing that problem down the road. And we've become so bloody politically correct. You can't say this, you can't do that. You're not even allowed to have a point of view anymore unless the BBC have given it to us. Where we're not allowed to think laterally and question things that don't feel right in our hearts. So I loved his answer. He said, yeah, you can push the problem, lie by all means, make somebody feel better, or you can just speak your truth at the risk of triggering somebody into attacking you judging you, criticising you and trying to bring you down. And as Patrick Hawford once said, who wrote the Optimum Nutrition Bible, just because you're a vegetarian doesn't mean to say you won't get rammed by a bull. And I think we're living in a time where we really have to look at why we are reacting and behaving in the way we are. And as I say, again, 80% of our disease is caused by our lifestyle and the ludicrous way we've polluted the planet, and everything on it and in it, our soil, our air and our water. And, you know, that's just a harsh truth. I'm sorry. It's not my fault. I didn't make that up. But our route back from that is, you know, addressing these things, standing up, becoming these unstoppable mums and dads that are just saying, no, we don't want this anymore. We want nutrient-dense, healthy, vibrant food. We want strong communities. We want open, honest, transparent communication. We get to decide that. Every politician lies. I mean, it's just like a joke now. Anyway, I digress. I'm not going on to that field. I want to talk about our minds, our thoughts, our feelings, the inner critic, okay? So what can happen is that we believe our thoughts, we believe our feelings are real, and that's not taken away from, don't take this personally, just listen, and you'll hopefully gain a deeper understanding of how we cause a lot of our own suffering. And I'm not saying other humans aren't involved, because they are. But we can't, there's certain things that we can't change out there. So this work is all about getting back. What can I do? Can I change it? No. Well, can I change the way I respond to it? Yes. And the way I perceive it? Yes. And, you know, this is not about not taking action. A lot of people think, well, if I let go of somebody who's really betrayed me and really let me down or abused me, that I'm letting them off the hook. Nothing could be further from the truth. We're let ourselves off the hook so that we can then, we're not making a decision through rash, hot emotion, and that we're making a decision that is going to be for the greater good of all. And this is at the challenging time right now, which is to really look at ourselves and our reactions. The universe is a mirror. And whether you like it or not, when you're judging and criticising and bringing somebody else down, that is information for us to look at ourselves. So when we talk about intermittent fasting, there is no more powerful way to see what's inside than to take food out of the equation and say, right, okay, you're not going to eat between these times, and see what the mind comes up with. Oh, because it's hilarious. I mean, I've been doing this work for decades, and it cracks me up, the excuses that people come up with for not eating well. Oh, I had to go to Glasgow. Oh, the kids were off sick. Oh, the schools were on holiday. These are the reasons that we give ourselves, some of them, for not eating well, which is, you know, when you think about it, again, that might trigger some people. It might be hard to go and, well, that's true, that's real. It's like, well, is it? And let's start with the chat that we give ourselves by running it through Byron Katie's The Work. So we're talking really about intermittent fasting and about food here, and all the reasons that we give out for not making good food choices, okay? So let's take one of the best ones. The top 2 reasons / excuses that we do not eat well is we're too tired and we don't have enough time. Okay? So let's look at I'm too tired as a reason for not fasting or not sticking to the fast. So you'd run it through the 4 questions. I am too tired to eat healthily. The first question is that true? Is it true that eating healthy, I'm too tired to eat healthily? In other words, what the belief around that is, eating healthily takes a lot of work and time. Okay? Is it true? Well, yes, it is true. So you might want to stick to your story and you might want to stick to your belief. It is true. I am too tired to eat healthily. So question number 2 is, can you 100% know that that is true? And you might still want to stick to your story, but there'll be that little flicker of, well, is it true? Is it really true? So you have to start. You can't categorically say no there. Or if you can, it's no problem. But let's assume that you're like, right, okay, that might not be true. That's question number 2. So you're now starting to back away from the belief, the statement, the negative affirmation. Question number 3 is, how does it make you feel when you choose to believe that thought? I am too tired to eat healthily. It takes too much energy to eat healthily. How does it make you feel when you believe that? Maybe you want to pop something into the box there. If you have ever believed that you're too tired and it takes too much energy to eat healthily, how did it make you feel when you chose to believe that thought? And there's no blame here. We all do it. I've done it myself. It's none of that. This is just honest exploration of the thoughts that we're believing. How does it make you feel if you choose to believe that it takes too much energy to eat well and healthily, and that you're too tired to do it? And there will be people out there that do not have the energy to make any food, never mind healthy food. But eating an apple is really pretty easy. So let's imagine it makes you feel powerless. Yes, that you're powerless, that you're not worthy, that you're lazy and guilty. Yeah, all of these things that make you, when you choose to believe that thought, that's how you feel. That's your perception of yourself. What do you think the cells do when you go believing, oh, I'm too tired to eat healthily, I'm too tired to nourish my body, to care about my cells? And I'm not talking about people who are in bed ill right now. I'm just talking about us that are up and about talking rubbish. So the cells, of course, get this information, the feeling, remember, I'm not worthy, I'm not enough, I'm not good enough, I'm not lovable, I don't have the energy, I'm powerless. That's what the cell's getting, the feelings of that. And question number 4 is, who would you be without that thought? So you don't have that thought, you're not believing that thought. Can you feel the difference in that already? Maybe you can, maybe you can't. And then you turn it around. So I am too tired to eat healthily becomes I have the energy to eat healthily. And you just sit with that. How does it feel? Because it's 2 thoughts. I'm too tired to eat healthily. I have the energy to eat healthily. How do you feel? Just let's turn it around. I have the energy to nourish my cells. How does that feel? 2 thoughts. One we believe, one we don't believe. One we choose automatically because we've possibly been telling that story for a while without questioning its integrity and honesty. Yes, empowered. So, can you see 2 thoughts? But we usually grab one, believe it, and make a story about it to justify our choices. Now, I'm not saying for a second that it doesn't take a level of energy to change a habit, because it does. But can you see the difference when you just start with your words and your thoughts? I have the energy to munch a carrot and munch an apple. Everybody can do that. And it's a starting place. Nothing needs to be done or prepared. It's just something maybe new that you put into your shopping basket. It's such a great example. Yes, exactly, Pauline. It's this powerful. The work is so powerful because just that first sentence, is it true? You know, if you're hearing the problems in the mind, that one question's enough for me, because here's the thing, none of our thoughts are true. We're having a perception in that moment based on how we're feeling or how we're excusing ourselves. And as soon as you take responsibility for being the believer, I'm a believer, what are you believing? And believing, now we understand that what we believe is a choice. So if you're believing stuff that makes you believe you're powerless, or you're believing stuff that makes you see that you're powerful. And again, let me go back to the tribe. When everybody eats a really healthy diet, 80-20, I'm totally with you, unless you're trying to heal a disease, you may have to go more full on, depending. But in general, if you hang around with people that really understand that nutrition, when they invite you for dinner, and the love, etc., that goes into the food that they choose for you, and it's the way it's prepared, and the way you receive it, all of that. Can imagine what the cells are doing, because remember, they're listening all the time. So suddenly, I'm too tired to eat well. I don't know what to eat. I'm confused. All of that stuff that people say. The cells are listening. They're just getting the chemistry that you've just excreted into your own bloodstream by believing your thoughts. So when you say, I have the energy to make a different choice. So suddenly the cells are like, oh, here we go. Let's expand again. They're back on track. Their emotional guidance system. How does it feel? Yeah, that feels better. So this is the judge right in here is the cell. And the cell can only ever be reacting to the truth. Your truth, not mine, not Nicola Sturgeon's or Boris's, yours. So you are the only person that knows that whether you're behaving through the past, reacting through the past, or tuning in for clean, clear information. And that comes absolutely 100% from your integrity and your genuine understanding of your cells. Okay, so that's that settled. It's we can shift that perception, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually tap around these two limiting beliefs, that I'm too tired. And please remember, I'm not saying you're not too tired. Maybe you don't have enough energy. That's a completely different, separate question. Thought, belief system. You may feel tired, you may feel exhausted, but picking up an apple and eating it is not any more challenging than picking up, I don't know, whatever else you may pick up, something that's nutrient dead or that's harmful. Because remember, there's three things that food can do. One, nothing. It's just as its energy. Two, it can help you heal. And three, it can harm the cells. And that's the three things that the foods we're putting in. So it's either helpful, or it's not very helpful, or it's actually harming. I had a conversation with my line manager doing night shifts. I'll read that after, Heather. So I'm doing a lot of work right now with young children, teenagers and carers. And, you know, the reality is right now, due to decisions being made that I believe are not for the greater good of all, but let's not go down that road just now. But decisions are being made that are crippling some people. And there's nothing at this stage that we can do about that. So when you recognise, and the reality is people are having to pay their mortgages and their bills, etc. So there are some things right now that appear for now to be out with our control. But what we can control is how we perceive it. and how, and we're being forced, right? We're being forced in. We're being forced to stay in our communities. And you know, what we have to do is, much as that grinds my gears like you wouldn't believe, I can see the huge, huge benefits of being in my community, getting to know the people around me, committing to my community and thinking, what can I do here to make life better for everyone? Including myself, you know. I mean, what is my agenda? What is, you know, we all have to look at what's my agenda. So we all want to be happy and peaceful, and we all want to have these minds that are like a beautiful rose garden that's really helpful. But, you know, the reality is, the more you're getting challenged is your bigger area for growth. But again, that's really easy for me to say because I have a freedom in every way that a lot of people do not have. But that freedom, that privilege that I have allows me to sit for an hour here and help as many people as I can with all this stuff that I have learned. And the biggest, most powerful thing you can do is realise that how you feel is your responsibility and you can change it. And the mind, the monkey mind, which is always coming up, and the pain body screaming, but what about me? And I need this and I need that, and meh, which I do as well. You know, it's like, do you really? Is that true? Is everything that you're bleating on about, and I'm talking about me here, do you really need that, or do you just want it because it makes you feel comfortable? Because you don't want things to change, because you don't want to open and expand your mind to the phenomenal new energies that are coming in. I've been bleating on about being cold, which people think I like the cold. That is absolutely not true. My body functions in 30 degrees. I love the heat and I love the beach. I love the sun in my face. That is free happiness for me. But right now, I'm go out in the wind, and I'm really having to work on my judgment of, you know, colder weather and a long winter. But I understand that's my responsibility. Do I still moan about it? Aye, on occasion I do, I will be honest. But I still, you know, you've got to, we're human. We're a work in progress. We're going to think negative thoughts. We're going to feel negative feelings. But when you really, really start to work with this, you understand the person that's making you miserable most of all is yourself. So let's go to, so I'm too tired. Lack of time. I don't have enough time. Now, I did a really interesting exercise when I was working at Tony and Guy on time management. And you basically, it's dead easy, but it's a bit like journaling your food. Write it down in your journal what you're doing. So I woke up and I spent 2 hours on social media. I then watched the news for whatever. So break down your time. Now, I know there's mums out there right now juggling 100 things, teachers juggling 100 things, lots and lots of people that literally are end to end. So I'm not saying that some people aren't overwhelmed with the amount they have to do, because I know that they are. But in general, there's a lot of us saying we don't have time, and it's a complete lie. And I'm sorry, that might trigger you, because it's the truth. There was yes, Emma, the whole open water swimming thing. That's just a classic way of to see all these people going into the cold water is just incredible. So yeah, being honest. As Carolyn Mace says, liars don't heal. Can't heal. So if we're not being 100% honest, now I don't care, not to anybody else, just to yourselves, your wee selves. So if somebody, here's your cell like this, one of them, right? And somebody says, how are you feeling? And you say, oh, I'm fine. But the cells are like, why? But obviously you don't want to tell everybody how you're feeling. I'm feeling crap, I'm overwhelmed, etc. But as soon as you start to tell the truth, guess what the cell does? That's the truth. That's the lie. The cells only know the truth, right? So even if you're lying, and people will know you're lying, you know, because we know, don't we? We've got that inner lie detector. And that's why you can watch, the, you know, politicians or people talking a lot of rubbish, and you're just like, that is not authentic. It's not coming from a place of truth. That's all about, you know, winning votes and wanting people to like you and being a people pleaser. That's not coming from that place. And this is really what we're all coming to now, but in this, with these new frequencies coming in, you cannot genuinely expand your vibration if you're lying to yourself. It just can't happen. You're keeping yourself stuck like this. The cells are in contraction. So when you say, I don't have enough time, what you really mean is, I don't want to make time for that. Because we all know when we really want to do something, we will make it happen. And there's a kind of lethargy, I suppose, and an apathy around, like, well, I just can't be bothered. And I think it's completely okay to say, I can't be bothered. I'm not making time for that. It ain't a priority. That's okay. Healthy eating, it's not my priority. I totally get that right now. I think if you're juggling all these balls that some people are juggling, to say, you know, food is the furthest, it's my last priority right now, I think that's totally cool. Totally and utterly acceptable. It's just making excuses and that whole thing into your own head. So what can you do? You can buy a bag of carrots and a bag of apples and make sure that you're getting some raw live food. That's a dead simple thing to do. Even kids, most kids will eat raw carrots. And you've done your good deed for your children's gut biome and for your own gut biome by just some fresh fruit and some veggies that can be eaten raw, cut up some peppers, cucumbers, etc. Really simple. So that's, can you see how we shut ourselves down? I'm too tired. Is it true? Just sit with me right now. Is it true I am too tired to make changes that would make me feel better? Because that's really what we're saying. Is it 100% true that I am too tired to make positive, powerful changes? Right, okay, you start to feel it. Is it true? So then you know the doubt comes in. And question number 3, how does it make you feel when you choose to believe that you are too tired to make positive changes? And I'm meaning easy changes. I'm not asking you here to rewire your brain overnight, although that's possible too now with plant medicine. But anyway, that's another live. So then question number 4, who would you be without that thought? I am too tired to make positive changes, to make powerful changes. I don't even like that word positive. Okay. Who would you be without that thought? Let's turn it around. I have the energy to make a few powerful changes. How does that feel? I have the power. That's a good point, Janie. We're all going to get tempted, and again, the 80-20 rule, you know, we're human. Don't give yourself more things to beat yourself up about. But the reality is, if you have a craving and you have something healthy in your fridge ready, preparation is key, eat that and the craving will go away, and then you'll just move on. So again, it's about these powerful the practical ways to break really negative habits that will, because these habits might be making you more tired and encouraging the microbiome that we don't want instead of the ones that we do want. Okay, so that's the work, how we can really challenge ourselves, our own thinking, and become much lighter and brighter because we understand we're thinking a lot of rubbish, that mind of ours. And, you know, this questioning your own thoughts, when you start to do this work, you'll become quite annoying because you'll hear people saying things that aren't true, and maybe you'll feel that you need to point it out. Don't do that, because people don't want to be taught unless they're actually in the mood for learning. The people are constantly teaching us, oh, did you know you did this? Oh, you should do that. You should do that. And it's just like, oh my God, that's exhausting as well. Right now, we just want to be living our most stress-free life and learning when we are in the mode for learning, and not when we're rushing about trying to get the kids ready and doing our very best with the nutrition. And I have been, and I'm a bit of a nutrition Nazi in terms of like, what are you feeding my nephews, the children, da 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 da. And then you remember, you know, some days you're just getting through. You're just getting through the days. The last thing you need is more judgment. And if you can make it easy and, you know, it's not doing any harm, and you just educate yourselves a little bit and all the kind of quick, fast, healthy foods that you can have, then, and that's a whole class, Janice and I will be addressing that as well, as, you know, how to effortlessly feed your kids good gut biome. So let's do a little bit of power breathing and a little bit of tapping on the monkey mind. The more you practice this work, as I keep saying, they call it a practice because if you have a daily practice and you practice it every day, you will get really, really good at recognising your own BS and at reframing it instantly, taking full responsibility. And that is the most empowering thing that you can do, instead of trying to bleat out a story that is not true and does not serve you, does not serve yourselves, and the other person knows isn't true anyway. So, oh, I just didn't have time to do that, becomes, I'm sorry, I did not make time to do that, but I will make time on Tuesday, on Wednesday, or whatever. So then we're being honest and clear. And the more of us that understand the cellular integrity and the cellular tensegrity, which is really the tension on the cell. Remember, the cell's like a 3D harp, and it's either in tune or it's out of tune because of us and our thoughts and feelings and perceptions and beliefs and programming. When we think about that tensegrity, this is mindfulness at its best. You are in tune and you are aligned with the information, the good information that you want. So I hope that's really, really clear. I know exactly, Jane. When I leave the telly off, I've got plenty of time. There's loads of things that we are doing that are taking up valuable time. And I'm not saying that's right or wrong, because you need to have time off to do stuff. I mean, I just think you get bombarded with so much stuff. You're just like, oh my God, can we not just live our lives the way we used to without overthinking everything? Anyway, let's do one round of belly breathing and a little bit of tapping before we finish for the day, and set you up for a really nice weekend. So remember, we're breathing in, we're filling up the belly, and then pushing that air out, and we're really pulling it all our abdominal and corset muscles in, pulling all the internal organs in so that they get a nice massage. Okay, so breathe. All the way in, all the way out. And just hold your breath. observe what the cells are doing. You're completely oxygenated. We're now going into hypoxia as we let go and allow everything that no longer serves us to dissolve. Let it all go. Become more wave than particle. Allow the coherence to happen. You are the master. Okay, and then breathe in. Clench all your intrinsic muscles and squeeze into the brain. Squeeze, 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 and let it go. And just allow the buzz, that frequency, that energy, to vibrate through every cell in the body. And just allow yourself to relax. And just observe the energy. The relief from the emotions from the past. Really allow the cells to expand with your helpful thinking. I am powerful. I am the power. I have the power. Allow it all. Just allow that to resonate through every single cell in the body. I allow myself to be honest, to be intuitive, to listen. I'm letting go of all need to be right, setting my cells free. Okay, so let's do a little bit of tapping around these two limiting beliefs. I'm too tired and I don't have enough time, okay? So, and feel free to, if that's not your thing. The other thing that comes up all the time around food is that it's really hard. I have to do without everything that I love and that I'll never be able to sustain it. These are the 3 underlying beliefs that I saw when I was working with my nutrition clients. Okay, so we'll just do a bit of tapping around that as well in case there's any of that holding on for you. So just tap with me and mean it. Remember, you are the power. It's you that decides, nobody else. Even although sometimes I tell wee porky pies, like I don't have time, I'm too tired, I make up stories to justify my decisions, my guilt, how I'm feeling at the time. And even although sometimes I don't even realise that I'm doing it, because I'm not a bad person and I'm not stupid, I've just been programmed. And even although not now I'm understanding, I still might do these things because I'm a work in progress. So even although I've been believing these thoughts, and even although I was believing my stories and keeping myself powerless, I deeply and completely love, trust and accept myself. Even although I didn't realise that telling myself that I am tired, I have no energy, is a powerful affirmation, negative affirmation. even although I just didn't think about the power of my words and the stories that I was telling myself, making myself more tired, really reaffirming these negative beliefs around myself, my abilities, my energy levels. Even although I was affirming the wrong stuff and believing the wrong stuff, I deeply and completely love, trust and accept myself. And even although I've been believing that I need to give up all the things that I love to be slim, healthy and have full clarity and vitality for life, that's not a very attractive proposition. And even although I was believing that it's very difficult, it's really hard to change, and that I don't know if I'll ever be able to sustain these changes because of all the lack and all the things that I'm having to give up in order to be happy, healthy and free. Even although I had all these stories going on and all these limiting beliefs going on, and even although I was believing all of that stuff, I deeply and completely love, trust and accept myself. Because I didn't know what I was doing. Didn't know what I was believing. Okay, deep breath. It's crazy. We're crazy, aren't we? Crazy teachers. Right, now go with me. Now I'm up for letting go of all the limiting beliefs around my energy, my fatigue, my ability to make a few better choices without causing myself any more stress. I allow myself to add in live enzymes, nutrient-dense foods. Allow it to be effortless. I allow myself to just make a few better choices that will serve me and my family. I'm letting go of all the stories, the negative stories I was believing. I allow my energy levels to rise. I allow myself to make time. I allow myself to be completely honest with my words and my stories. I am a powerful being, and I am waking up to that phenomenal power. I'm letting go of all the limiting beliefs around lack and having to do without in order to be the best version that I decide I want to be. I'm letting go of other people's points of views. I allow myself to hear them, the points of views for what they are. I am the creator of my life. I'm letting go of all self-judgment, criticising myself and berating myself. I'm letting all of that go now. I allow my mind to quieten. I allow myself to listen. I am on a truly remarkable journey to greater levels of health, wealth and happiness, to greater levels of energy and vitality. I have the power to heal myself. I am pain-free. I am symptom-free. I am free. Say it and mean it. Remember, your cells are listening to you. So that's the only person you need to concern your cell with. Okay? I am a powerful being. Deep breath. And just let it all settle. Let all the rubbish dissolve and tap into your own truth, your own purpose. Going at your pace, your cells, your life. Okay. Thank you, Craig. So thank you all for joining. Brilliant support. Obviously, there is no point in me doing this if there is not an appetite for being free. Standing in your power. This is all about helping yourself and empowering the people. How can you help me? By sharing the information, by I was struggling to hear all that. Oh, were you? Sorry, that must be the internet. So you share the videos, share the page, share the YouTube channel, download the app. It's absolutely incredible how powerful we are, and we're really just waking up to that right now. When we work together like this in a group, it is hugely, hugely inspiring, and we actually create a power grid so we get better results. That's why it's phenomenal that you can join in again later. And what I'm doing is I'm cutting these exercises out the videos so you don't need to listen to all the me bleating on. You can just do the exercises. Okay, Leslie, yeah, you can catch it later. Okay, guys, so share. Teach people how to do it. Tell them about breathing. Be the example. When people see you a lot happier and lighter and more joyful and solution focused. Thanks, Leslie. And it's a bit like when you lose weight. It's like, what have you been doing? When you lose a bit of the past, when you start to be a lot more joyful, your sense of humour comes back. That's the same thing. People will be like that. What metaphysical diet have you been on? Your perception comes up way up here, and that's really what we're trying to achieve, is raising our own vibration, a much higher perspective for the greater good of all of us. Huge love. Have a great weekend. Ciao.